All right, everybody. It is just a little bit late, but that is A-okay. It is October 6th, Friday, October 6th, 2023 at 8:21 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And it is the night before OU Texas, everybody. So I want to thank Swiggy, Gavin, and my dad, OUFlagGuy Senior, for joining us. So, everybody, how are y'all doing today? Good?
Yep.
I'm doing good, and I'm over here in Arkansas. Texas still sucks.
I heard that you're over in Arkansas, but man, I did not hear all that at all. Gavin, you went in and out, buddy.
I said Texas.
That's A-okay. Well, that too. Sure. What about you, Swiggy? How are you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing fine and dandy. Got a lot of fun. Tomorrow's big day. Got 4 MLB playoff games.
Awesome. Dad, what are you doing? Everything going well tonight for you as well? Are you looking forward to Red River tomorrow?
I'll always look forward to that one.
Absolutely. It's your favorite game of the year.
One of my favorites.
Don't you dare say Bedlam's the other one.
It is.
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, at least you know your Cowboys are doing well. So
yeah,
tonight
they're winning.
Yep, they're winning 21-7, I think, right now, which is very surprising.
Yeah, at halftime.
Yeah. So everybody, tonight it's just going to be a hangout night to talk some OU Texas. Really fast, as I'm talking, Dad, since I hear you in the back, I'm going to mute you, but then I'll unmute you when you're talking everything. There we go. Okay, now we're good. So tonight, guys, it's just going to be talking some OU Texas stories, and I had Dad join us because he has lots of stories from the 70s and the 80s and 90s, but also just a lot of stuff too of like talking about Grandma and Grandpa whenever we went to the fair together and his favorite OU Texas moment. So I kind of want to start with that and get your stories and stuff, Dad. So you mentioned before that Grandma and Grandpa, like the entire family started when they met at OU Texas. Let's kind of start there. Tell me, and everybody who's attending that about it.
Well, this is not a long story, but my mom and dad met on Commerce Street on the Friday night before the Texas OU game, down in front of the Adolphus Motel. Mama and a bunch of her friends skipped school that day. They were in college to go downtown. And to this day, I don't think Mama would admit to it, but she's passed. You know, she died about 5 years ago, but never could get her to say, yeah, we actually did it. So they did, because that's where they met.
Do you think Aunt Jerry or Aunt Linda would ever confirm that if Grandma skipped school?
Oh, I think she did. I think Aunt Jerry told me, and Aunt Linda's told me. But that was the years back then in the 30s or late 30s, early 40s. It got real rowdy. Everybody was drunk. Now, I don't know if Daddy and Mama was. They'd be throwing furniture out the hotel windows and everything. So it was real rowdy.
Out the hotel rooms and everything? Like what? I've never even heard that story from it.
Chairs, just whatever they could get, and they threw them out the windows.
Man, we're sounding like West Virginia fans.
And remember, that's your grandma and grandpa. It's probably Daddy, but not Mama.
Yeah. But you also mentioned though too that and I think anybody who's tuning in and everything will understand that Grandpa was in the Pride. I think we mentioned before in 37 or 39 it was right before the war and stuff, correct?
1939.
1939. What instrument did he play?
Daddy played a bunch of instruments. Daddy played by ear, but in the band he played the saxophone.
So what you're telling me is whether it's 1939 or 2023, he played Boomer Sooner probably the exact same way as we play now.
Probably. And Daddy could sit in front of an organ or a piano and just start playing. He played by ear.
That's good. Like I said, some of these stories I haven't heard before, so it's even entertaining for me. I know people who are turning in stuff too. Like I know for sure Grandpa was also part of the Jazz Hounds. So, and I brought it out of the storage that I have so everyone can see and stuff, like his Jazz Hounds paddles. So for anybody who's ever attended or knows about some of the OU history, the Jazz Hounds were like the precursor of the Roughnecks that we have now. They were two spirit squads before that combined into one. But to find one of these is very, very, very difficult or anything now at this point. Dad, do you have any stories about Grandpa and the Jazz Hounds or anything he would mention before?
No, I didn't know about it till after Daddy died. He never even talked about it.
Gotcha. What about so that was how Grandma and Grandpa met. Grandpa got his season tickets from being in the Pride, and I think we've mentioned before that we've had the season tickets in the family since about the 40s, right?
No, 60s.
60s. Close enough. 40s, 60s, just a 20-year difference. But what was it?
Yes, he was the ticket agent in Lawton for selling OU tickets back then. He had a chart behind the cash register with the diagram of the stadium, and all it did was show sections numbers, and he sold the tickets, to people that wanted to come in.
That's awesome. For everyone tuning in, Dad, will you also tell everybody how much OU Texas tickets were back then?
When I was going to the OU Texas games in the 70s, tickets were $20.
That's crazy to think about. Let me do that real fast. Oh, well, one sec. Go ahead.
Even when I was going to the Texas OU games back then in the 80s with Mom and everything, we never had 80-degree weather. It was always 100 degrees there. There wasn't a day that we went that was nice.
So what you're telling me is you're very jealous of Sean this weekend, who's attending the game. It's probably going to have a balming 70-degree weather.
Yes, yeah. Pre-kickoff time is 58 degrees. It's supposed to be in the 80s during the game. I never had that. In fact, when Mama was pregnant with, was it Josh or Megan? With Megan, we were down. We're on the ramp side, probably row 2 or 3, and all the ladies that were pregnant got sick and were staying up in the bathrooms. And all the husbands were staying watching the game. It was so hot.
Yeah, I mean, I would figure it would be that hot and everything. For it, what about you mentioned like tickets and stuff for $20? How much were season tickets and stuff back then, just in general? And did you have to have the raffle and everything to even get OU Texas tickets?
At that time, we automatically qualified for the Texas tickets, but at that time, Mama paid for all the tickets. I don't know how much they were.
Much cheaper than they are now.
I know what I paid last year for them or this year, and I know what I'm paying for them next year, but back then I don't remember.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I think Thunder, I think Dad's streaming through a tablet for us, so that's why it's a little bit choppy and stuff, and different internet signals and stuff. Besides like OU Texas, do you have any fun and interesting, like what was the best OU Texas game that you attended?
I don't remember. They were all good when we won.
They weren't good when you didn't win.
I remember the year that Barry Switzer, was it Barry? And it may have been Darrell Royal, and the President of the United States walked down, walked to flip the coin and everything. I remember that. And there was Secret Service everywhere with high-powered rifles.
Those were the ones that wanted to be seen, even now probably.
Yeah. Well, Josh, when you're on not the ramp side, but the other side, and behind it, there's that real tall building that looks like the Washington Monument. That's what I'm talking about? There was a guy stationed up there with a high-powered rifle.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. That makes total sense. Like it would be like that high security and everything from that. I think they talk about that at the OU Texas games about the president and stuff going from it, but I don't recall like some of the details and everything for it, except yes, presidents have attended this game before.
Right. It's fun. I always look forward to it, but I look forward to it staying home, not messing with the crowd, the driving and everything, and just staying here and watching it on TV, because I know when I yell, they can hear me.
I mean, I can hear you yelling. I'm about 90 miles away. Do you have any funny stories though from OU Texas? I know you always mention the vulture story.
Oh, I'm sure Swiggy and Gavin has heard that before.
Yeah, but the people who turned in haven't.
Oh, okay. We were oh gosh, we're on the press box side looking toward the ramp. Weren't you with us, Teresa? Yeah, Mom was with us too. And here's this vulture flying around. It's on the press box. I mean, it's on the ramp side to the right, which would be to the right of us or to the left of the ramp. And it's just circling. And all of a sudden, I mean, it's dive bombing all the fans and everything. And then it got high enough. And all of a sudden, he just let loose. There was diarrhea everywhere. And you should have seen all those people scrambling. I mean, looking for cover. There was no cover to be had. And it crapped on all of them.
They were Texas fans, right?
OU and Texas. He wasn't partial.
Well, that's disappointing. I mean, did OU win that game that day?
I don't remember.
Well, whatever game it was, hopefully OU did, because then, I mean, they were circling buzzers. I guess another question I have for you, and chat, feel free to throw questions in and stuff as well for it. He probably has a lot of stories from it. How is OU Texas different from then versus it being now? Is it there's a lot of similarities? Is there a lot of things that are different?
About the same. Now, as far as I can remember, the fair's the same. The fair hadn't changed in 50 years.
Yeah,
it has not changed. You know, it's the same. Same things you could see today as you did 50 years ago. It just a car. They have their car show. They have all their little shops and everything. They had the fair and everything. But to me, it hadn't changed.
Yeah,
It hadn't changed any. Now I'll take that back. They had a penny arcade. This will date me. This was in the 70s when I went, and they had a penny arcade. You know, you put the penny in, you could play the games. And there was one there there was about 5 or 10 of them. You put your penny in and you look through the little arcade and you turn the crank, and it was R-rated movies. And, you know, be like the cards going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, or, you know, whatever. And it was, at that time, it was probably X-rated. Now it'd probably be G-rated or at least R. But it was funny. For a penny, you could turn that crank and watch a movie.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they still have those there now, just off to the side. I mean, why wouldn't they?
I mean, I could say stuff about you, but I'm not going to. The time that
No,
but I'm going to let that one slide.
that's okay.
She knows exactly which one I'm talking about.
That's okay. I will say, Mom will probably remember this one then from it, because while I'm thinking about it, Mom, I did get this. Do you remember the old school Beanie Babies from going to the state fair and everything when you and I were there? Like, because if I recall correctly, the story was one of you would take me or Megan, and then the other one would take somebody to the state fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had to keep you on a leash because you were always getting out of our sight and everything. So we had to put a leash on you.
That's okay. That's what most people do.
Leash.
On his pants.
On your pants, not around your neck.
You have a funny story mentioning like me and Megan. So for the chat, there's a running joke in the family, like if OU won, we would eat like kings and queens and royalty, and we would have steak. If we lost, we would hope that we would get McDonald's on the way back. Hope is the key word.
That was the key word.
You'd be very upset when OU lost, but you have to tell the infamous story as well about the time you left too early.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Megan and I went to the game. It was just, you know, we just went to it. It wasn't your year, so to speak. We're on as you're coming out, if you're looking at the ramp, we're on the left side all the way up at the very top. In fact, behind us, there's no seats. It was just a retaining wall. You could see all the way Oklahoma, all the way to Oklahoma. That's how high we were. Well, that's when John Blake was the coach. And if everybody remembers John Blake, well, we got behind by 3 touchdowns. And it's getting ready to be the middle of the 4th quarter. And I say, come on, Megan, we are leaving because we are not going to win this game. You know, it just wasn't going to happen. Well, to make a long story short, we're going down the ramp, which took us about 15 minutes because you go in circles coming from that top spot. And we hear the yelling and everything, and the crowd's going crazy and everything. So we figured, well, Texas scored again. And we get into the car, and we're heading back toward Fort Worth because that's where the hotel was and everything. And all of a sudden, I'm listening. They're saying that OU had won the game. I said, no, they're just going over past victories. Well, we came back and won it in overtime. And Megan's in the back seat hitting me with her fist, Teresa.
She was 9.
She was 9, hit me on the back. You made me miss us winning the game. You made me miss us winning the game. I have never left an OU game since. They could be up. They could be down 50 points. I am staying to the bitter end.
I mean, you and I could compare stories of that, of like 2021 fans could have thought to leave the game early for it, and they would have missed out on probably the 16 best minutes of like the best OU game that's happened at OU Texas, probably in the history of the OU Texas game.
Mm-hmm. But whenever you and I go, it always pours down rain. So I quit going to the games with you. All it does is just rain, and we have monsoons.
Hey, beggars can't be choosers. I'm just saying. What do you remember some of the other games? Like, I think you've mentioned before as well. The games that are like the worst games to attend are not the ones we lose. It's the ones we tied with Texas, and that those were actually the worst games.
Was that 87 when Stanberry intercepted in the end zone, and they said he was out of bounds, and then Fred Akers kicks a field goal and ties 15-15.
That was 84.
84. Okay, I didn't go to the game. I watched it on TV, but Barry Switzer's is still rampant about that.
Yeah,
because it was replay back then. And then I had one other one. They won't know who this is, but you do, Josh. It was Don. Don and I went to a game. We were playing TCU in Norman, and I don't remember the year, but we were ahead by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, with about 7 minutes to go. Well, we leave. And to make a long story short, they tie it up. And TCU goes for 2. And that was the one, I can't think of the player that he blocked, the quarterback, the TCU quarterback threw it, and we blocked it. He blocked it out of the end zone or whatever, and we won. But that teaches me, I still don't leave the games anymore. I don't remember what year it was. It's been within the last 10 years. But, yeah, we missed that one too.
That's disappointing. I didn't even know that one. That was 2017 or 2018. That was the one where Baker got injured with the concussion, and we had to throw Trevor Knight in. And I believe it was Stephen Parker who blocked that kick, or blocked the 2-point conversion from it.
That was right. Doc and I are looking at each other going, I can't believe we left. And I think it was even raining that day. It was missing because I had on a wetsuit and everything. So, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, 2015. Now, you've also said an infamous story to me before as well, that you've actually never had, to the probably surprise of all the people here, that you've never had a corn dog at the State Fair of Texas.
Never had.
Why not?
I don't know. Just never did. No, there was a reason. I was afraid I'd get food poisoning at the game and get sick and wouldn't be able to go to the game. So I barely ate at the fair. Except it was drinks, things like that. But I never had corn dogs or those big turkey legs or anything like that. I guess superstition.
We had tamales.
We had what?
Tamales.
Oh, mom and them had tamales, but I never had a corn dog there.
Yeah, because I've had stuff after the game, but before the game, it's like just something to get settled on the stomach at that point. Now I remember you and Mom have both mentioned as well, like when y'all were dating, like y'all went to OU Texas games together.
Well, that was our first official date, really, wasn't it? Yeah, that was our first official date.
Yeah.
And I think, was that the year we went with Linda and Uncle Harry in the van? No. Okay, I mean, we'd gone with Linda, Uncle Harry, and some other people in the van. They made me drive down and made me drive back up, and we won. But that was really Mom's and I first official date.
That would have been really fun. When was 2000 was the last OU game you went to in Texas for OU Texas, right?
Oh shoot, I don't remember, Josh. Yeah, it could have. Was that the year that we were running late and it was raining and we won 63 to something? It's the one you and I went to. Yeah, that could have been the last one.
Yeah, so it's been a while. since you've been to it. And I think it's because you've told me before you just don't want to deal with Dallas traffic and stuff anymore.
I don't want to deal with the traffic. That's and everything. And I'd rather stay here, watch it on TV. Bathrooms closed. If I want to drink something, I can do that. Not liquor, but get something to drink and everything, Cokes or whatever. And it's just as fun here. And mom goes into the other room because I yell so much and cuss. I drop the F-bomb quite often.
It's okay. Under Lincoln Riley, we all drop the F-bomb.
Yeah, and I'm old. I just don't feel like doing it anymore.
Well, and yeah, I don't blame you because I enjoy it. And I mean, it's like you enjoy going to the games and everything, but at the same time, it's like it is a hassle getting in. It is a hassle getting out. But then again, at least think of it this way: since you've last been, they've changed out the restrooms at the Cotton Bowl so they don't overflow anymore.
Well, that's good. Yeah, they had a problem with that. Yes. Yeah. Yep. And it's even a hassle when you go to games in Norman, even though we're in Lawton, which is about 60 miles away. I mean, if it's a 6 o'clock game, we don't get home till 1:30 in the morning. That's way past my bedtime anymore. Now, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy going to the games and everything, but I'd rather watch it on TV.
Speaking with OU Texas and stuff, everything, do you have like a particular memory or something that's one of your favorites? It doesn't have to be about a team or anything, but just something that immediately sticks out to your mind.
No, I can't. Well, I remember one. I don't know if it was Marcus Dupree. No, it wasn't him, or it was one of the other running backs. Mom and I were in the south end zone. No, the ramp side, and he breaks one. I mean, there's nobody within miles of him, and all of a sudden it just goes to slow motion, and you can see his knee just collapse underneath of him. And I don't know what do you remember that? Sort of, but I can't remember if I hear the name, it was a running back and I cannot remember him, but he was out. He tore a hamstring or ACL or whatever. I mean, he was just running as fast as he could. And all of a sudden you could just see that knee wobble and he went right down.
Ugh.
Yeah. I can't remember the player's name. He was a good running back, highly recruited, but that's been years ago.
I mean, that's probably been what, like 40 years at least at minimum, right?
Yeah. But Barry Switzer was still the coach. So, I mean, I cannot, if Gavin or the other Swiggy can think of one of the players that hurt their legs at the OU game, I mean, it just like slow motion, you could just see his leg buckle and he just falls to the ground.
That could be something the chat may know too, is what game that was. I think it may have been I'm trying to remember because it'd have to be in the 80s at that point. Well, what's the best seat you've had? Because I know you like to sit up top, but I also know with the Texas tickets and stuff, it's all over the place for like where you get to sit. You don't actually get to reserve your seat.
Hey, just as long as I could get tickets, I didn't care. But the best tickets were with me and Megan when we were up high in the skyboxes and everything. And the worst tickets is the year that Mom and I went. We were in the end zone, ramp side, 2-yard line. I mean, not 2-yard line, 2 rows up. And, you just can't really see anything. And at that time, they didn't have the big screens and everything. I mean, and, that's where everybody stayed in the end zone and all the camera people. You really couldn't see anything. But that's the worst seats I've ever had. So it's a luck of the draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's same thing when I went as a student and everything. I had it where we've had our old seats before when it was like OU Texas 2000, but it's also too where it's 50-yard line. That's really fun and everything like that.
You have the luck of the Irish. I'm here to tell you, you always get good seats, and I've cussed you out all the times that you've got good seats. I've never had the seats that you've had going to the ball games.
So for anybody who's watching, there is a running joke between hold on. Go ahead, Dad.
No, go ahead. I was going.
Oh, gosh darn it! Right as I did.
50-yard line, yeah, I never get that luck. I get the crappy seats.
Y'all can tell he's very bitter about that. So the story is whenever Dad and I went to the OU Texas one, it was one of the end zone seats, and I mean we had a good seat. It's kind of like where we have our seats now in Section 10, but in my junior year at OU, I got maybe 5 rows away from it. It was like the rough same area. That was the first time I've been back to OU Texas in about 10 years. So it was fun to go there. But our senior year, a friend of mine, she had never been, and we both decided we wanted to go to OU Texas. And again, it's a raffle. You don't know where you're going to sit at. Okay. We got arrived. Everyone's like, hey, you can pick up your OU Texas tickets like starting at noon when we still had physical tickets. And her and I, we went and picked it up. And we're like, okay, this is such and such everything. We had 50-yard line tickets, row 25, and the 2012 blowout against Texas. One of the best seats. You could hear the phone ringing when they were getting upset about, I think it was, who was quarterback in 2012 for Texas? They were getting upset, though, that they were not making plays. It was one of the best ones for that.
I think it was Colt's younger brother, Case, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Case. But that was a great game. But what's some of the surprises and stuff? Because, Dad, you mentioned before that any given day, any given moment, anything can happen in this game. This is one of those very few games where the score does not matter because we've seen it so many times. We've seen it the past 10 years where the score has been 7 points or less at this point. What's one of the biggest plays that you remember? One of the biggest surprises or anything?
Do what, Josh?
Oh, what's some of the most memorable plays or anything that you remember from OU Texas, just watching it on TV or just attending the games?
I still think Superman play.
Because it was just unexpected.
Yeah, I just think Superman, and that was just awesome for what he did on that. There's been, I've been fortunate enough to watch Joe Washington play and Greg Pruitt in the 70s and stuff like that, and being able to watch the Selman brothers. I mean, it's just all memorable. Going to the game is memorable.
Well, they're an experience on its own. It's you don't miss out on anything from going to the games and stuff by being there.
And both sides, OU or whatever, Texas is really obnoxious if they lose. They are obnoxious.
Have you noticed that they've been very obnoxious this week?
Yes, and they were obnoxious last year when we won 49, when we lost 49-0.
And that's still not the worst loss we've ever had. I mean, whatever, it's blowout, but that's still not the worst loss we've ever had against them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's an experience to go, and everybody should put it on their bucket list. The problem is now is just finding tickets, and they're so high. That's one reason, I just don't go anymore. I'd rather sit at home and watch sit at home and watch the games.
Yeah, because I saw something like a single ticket's $400 or $500 right now.
Yeah. Oh, the museum loved Mom because she would go to the museum. Remember, Josh? And she would buy out the museum on the fairgrounds.
They loved Oklahoma because we would buy when we win, buy when we lose.
Yes. Did you hear that, Josh?
Yeah.
They love the Oklahomans because we bought before the game, and if we won, we bought after the game.
Yeah, that's still to this day. They don't like Texas winning because people go home.
Yes. Now, if I had my druthers, I know this is going to get a lot of oppositions, probably between Swiggy, Gavin, and everybody else. I would like it. I would love it. Now, it won't happen at the Rose Bowl. I mean, at the Cotton Bowl. But I'd love to see a night game in Jarrett World. I would love to see that.
I mean, you almost got that a couple years ago with the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
But the key thing you said though was at Jerry World, not at the State Fair.
No, not at the State Fair. I'd love to see a night game, but it'd be so much different. If it was at the Cotton Bowl, outdoor with the lights on and everything, that would be great. But not in that neighborhood.
See, even you saying it, going back for it, not in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. My parents live in Arlington. And my mom's worked at the football stadium at Jerry World before, so.
Did she? Yeah. Now it'll never happen. They'll keep because of the atmosphere, because of everything else. I think it'll always be there unless Jerry coughs up a bunch of money that the Cotton Bowl can't do. I don't know.
It's
Tradition.
I mean, that's actually a good question. Just an in general question for you, Dad, is how has college football changed from when you were like going in the 70s and the 80s, seeing Barry Switzer and everybody, to now where it's almost more monetized and it's who can spend the most?
It's all money. It's all money related now. Not to say it didn't happen back then, because it did. But the NIL, the transfer portal, has just made it unbearable. I mean, like you and I talked, Josh, at what was it, BYU? They gave all of their scholarship players, 85 of them, for 6 months, each one of them a pickup to drive. I mean, that's just taking it out of the game. I just don't agree with it. And it wasn't that way. When you went to a school back then, regardless if it was OU, Texas, Alabama, whatever, you were there to play for the school, not to see where you could get the most money.
What's just in general too, because I have you on and everything. What's your favorite part of attending like a home game and stuff? Like, do you like, is the band your favorite part? Do you like seeing just the game, just going to it?
I like the pomp and circumstance. I just love it, every bit of it. And I've been there once since they've done the lights. I think that's so neat and everything. And hopefully we get to see it again. It's just all being there and everything. And I like the intro. Always have loved the intro. And the flyovers and things of that nature. Pretty much everything else is there. I've seen all the Heisman trophies, statues and everything. And we go down Main Street. I never got to talk to Jim and what's his face. So that really hurts my feelings.
It's okay. You're not missing out on anything by not talking to Jim Traber and Al Ashbeck.
I've seen them, but no, it's all fun going down there. It's fun going to the games, but I like staying home too.
Well, yeah, and I don't blame you for that, because when you think about it, like, I talk to people who are like, yeah, I enjoy the big games. Don't get me wrong. I like staying at home because I have access to my bathroom 5 feet away. I get a better view than probably a lot of the stadium just with the aerial cameras and everything for that. And I think they're trying their best, trying to enhance the stadium experience and stuff for it. I will say they've enhanced the concessions and stuff. That's for sure.
Yes. Oh yeah. It wasn't like that. And when I went, it wasn't aluminum seats. They were wooden seats to sit on. And the games always started at 1:30 on a Saturday afternoon.
Why 1:30?
That was just the game. That was the time they just started the games. It was 1:30 afternoon. Very little TV coverage back then either. You were lucky to get on one time a year. And but it was all wooden planks and no wind in September.
I mean, that's kind of tradition right now, where it's going to be 125 degrees out. It's like what we talked about earlier. Everyone hydrate like a champion, because if you don't, you're going to faint. That sounds like it hasn't changed since the 70s.
No, it hadn't. That's why I give you the tickets in September, and I'll go in October, November.
Yeah.
But one other thing, because I know the other guys want to talk. The other memorable game, Josh, and you were there. You were sitting with somewhere else. It was Bedlam. And we had the Belldozer, and we won in overtime. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they started doing the stomp around and everything. The crowd was just going nuts onto it. I mean, it was great. Now, on the other side, and I'll probably get the bad look. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Josh?
I do.
I mean, I'm going crazy. Mom and I are standing up and everything. Mom has her arms crossed and going, "Oh, I feel so sorry for him." for OSU. Now you got to remember, gang, we have a house divided. My daughter went to OSU, my son went to OU, but she goes, "I feel so sorry for him." And I said, "You will never go to another Bedlam game with me." And Mom's laughing. And have I taken her to a Bedlam game again? Not a bit. You remember?
Oh, sorry.
You remember that because we were talking about it. You said they could hear the crowd a mile and a half away when we won the game.
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
Yes.
That was my last. That was my last game as a student before I graduated. Yeah, I remember that game because that was the Brennan Clay run, and I was in the student section.
Yes, and no, yeah. Now I'll take Mom to a regular game, but to Bedlam, oh heck no. But since that time, she's had knee problems. She's had two knee replacements, and it's been real tough on her climbing the stairs and walking and everything. So she'd rather stay home. So I take Don or I take you, and we all have a good time.
Yeah, we have an absolute fun time for it. I always remember, like, there's always so many stories that come from it as well. I always crack the joke that that's why Megan is a Oklahoma State Cowboy, because you prevented her from watching the game back in '96.
Could be. Could be. I still have the bruises on my back where she was hitting me with her fist. She leaned up behind me and started pounding me. You made me lose the game. I mean, miss the game. You made me miss the game. What could I say? I did.
I talked to James Allen about that, and he wanted me to tell you a while back. He's like, that's why you never leave the game early. That's a lesson learned the hard way.
That's it. That's it. But,
yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of memories. You know, it's just, you know, watching Barry on the sideline, watching Stoops on the sideline, you know, didn't care for John Blake and Snellenberger, well, you know, but watching Barry on the sideline, he would get rampant at times. He'd be sitting on his knees or whatever, smoking a cigarette, and it was just fun to watch.
Absolutely. I was trying to remember one of the ones for it. Did when you went into some of the OU Texas ones again for it, did you go to any of the high ranked matchups where it was like a 1 versus like a top 10 matchup or anything as well, and how it was different or anything versus a normal one?
No, I've been to a few of them where it's been 1 and 2, 3 and 4, whatever, for sure. Yeah. And the funny thing about it is the team that was supposed to win never did. You know, Texas came in highly ranked. We beat them. We came in highly ranked. They beat us. So you can throw out all the records, as everybody knows, during this game. And, you know, it is what it is.
So what you're telling me is we should be have some faith for tomorrow, considering that Texas is favored by, I think, either 5.5 or 6.5, depending on the site you look at.
I heard it went down to 5. So I don't know. I don't know. I'd throw that out the window. I wouldn't bet on this game. And if we got ahead by 30 points, it's not enough. Or we end up playing our prevent to win defense and we give them scores.
I hate those games so much. I hate prevent the win. I understand the logic and the X's and O's behind it, but I hate it so much. Is there any game that you were shocked? I mean, I'm assuming it was 2021. That was the most shocking game you've seen OU like actually win based on what happened during the game. It was such a whiplash of emotion game.
2021, I don't remember that one.
The Caleb Williams one.
Oh, that was, well, yeah. Now I didn't go to that game, and me, your mom, Aunt Lynetta, and Scott were here. And we watched the games here, and we were yelling and screaming, jumping up and down and everything. And when Caleb ran that one, the first one that got us back into the ball game, man, it was awesome. Yeah. Now I don't, and I still won't forgive him for going to USC, but you
know, that's a-okay that you don't forgive him, because we don't forgive him, because in this chat we call him Tebow.
Yes, I just won't. I will never forgive him, and I won't forgive what's the name who you can't, you know, like on Harry Potter, the name that can't be mentioned. Yeah, I don't forgive him either.
Yeah, and I've seen some people say that it's tough to watch that game knowing what transpired, but to me, that you can overshadow that because it was one of the, with all the storylines and everything involved.
That was a great game. I mean, you can always say, oh, well, it sucks because that happened. I mean, if we have a bad season, does it suck that we beat Texas even knowing what comes later? No, winning matters. Winning is important, and that's still cool. It's still fun. Although I missed most of that game because I was at work and I turned it off because I had a call come in and I was on the phone for like 40 minutes and then I just focused on my other work.
Which makes sense. The miss. I mean, you've had to work OU Texas games, right, Dad?
Well, yeah. Well, yes, but at that time, and these guys are probably too young to remember, I worked at Montgomery Ward's, and I was in the TV department. All of our 40, 50 TVs were on the OU Texas game, so I really didn't miss it. And while the lady shopped, all the husbands came in and watched the game.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Dropped during those 3 hours because everybody was home watching the game.
That was probably the worst days to work was during OU Texas. See, now here's a funny story I can share from it, and Dad knows about it, and Sean Onikuno, as everybody knows, has done a video on it, and Swiggy and Gavin, you're aware of it. You mentioned of having to work. What about that one time I was invited to a wedding on OU Texas, knowing fully well that she grew up in Oklahoma and knew not to schedule her wedding on OU Texas weekend, and yet she scheduled it. It's like, hey, can you come to the game? No, I can't come to the game. Or come to the wedding? No, I can't come to the wedding. I'm going to the game.
Yeah. You told me that. Yes, and you didn't go. You didn't go.
Nope, I did not go. I said, I will send you a gift card. I have tickets to this game. I'm sorry. Like, these are very, very difficult to get. I went.
You had 364 more days you could choose from. Not that game.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't there a joke? And I don't know if she was serious or not at the time. Didn't Megan at one time when she wanted to get married to tell that she wanted to get married OU Texas weekend? I don't know if it was a joke or not, but it was just like, no, that you have other weekends you can pick.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. Mom said it was a joke.
Hey, with her being a Cowboy, it may not be a joke. What do you expect this weekend from it? Because obviously this is second year with Brent Venables. We're all having better defense. What do you expect outside of the unexpected, I guess, to ask? Because, I mean, anything can go in this game.
A 0-0 tie going into overtime? No, I don't. I have no idea what to expect in this game. Do what?
That's a nightmare.
This will be a nightmare game. I don't know. It's yet to be seen. I really don't have an answer for that one. It's whoever gets the breaks, and I don't know. Don't know. Gavin?
Cancel. There we go. Gavin, Swiggy, what about y'all?
I mean, this is probably one of the things where I feel like, if anything, this is going to be like one of those that could be up in the air. It could be like who can make the one play or anything that can definitely be out. If there's one weakness, I would probably say I am a little weary about the secondary within Texas a little bit, because I just have not seen like anything that was basically outstanding for the most part. Texas's offense, I mean, it's been very well balanced, but Ewers is mostly well known for his short and intermediate throws for the most part. He hasn't been very well with the deep ball in this sense, but he can actually play with the safeties and with his eyes a little bit. So that's going to be one thing I would basically take away from it. This is kind of keep an eye for those key factors of the game.
The thing that bothers me, or the one thing that really is up in the air, is our running game. We got to be able to establish, and no one has come out as a leader in the running game. I'm not worried about our wide receivers or whatever, but the running game really scares me, or the lack of it.
But do you think it might be possible as the fact that we've been trying to rotate a lot of the backs though and everything? Because that's kind of been the problem that I've been seeing though. It's like we've been rotating to where they're not like over 300 or 400 yards, but just like all of them have kind of gotten over 100 or 200 yards apiece on each back.
Right, could be. How many times do you think we'll throw to our tight end?
I probably don't think a whole lot.
Yeah, me neither.
One too many.
Nah, I bet he gets at least 3. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. How in general too, how are you with Brent Venables' this second year and stuff too, while we're on the topic of it?
I like Brent. Who are you talking to?
You.
Oh, I like Brent Venables. He inherited everything last year, so he was in kind of as everybody knows, a no-win situation. But I like what he's done. I think they're learning the scheme, and I think they're coming along. And we had busts last week. We had two real big busts on pass plays that went for touchdowns, and it was one of Josh's favorite players in our secondary. But it's who can make the plays tomorrow? Will it be Texas's defense? Will it be their offensive line that we can't hold, or what? I don't know. There's a lot of storylines.
You were actually reminded me. This was actually told to me by a former Roughneck, so I can share this one with the chat. Another OU Texas story. I asked him, like, did y'all do any shenanigans or anything as Roughnecks, like when it was OU Texas? They're like, absolutely. Like that's a dumb question. I said, okay, tell me some stories from it. And I remember two that they told me that cracked me up to this day. First one they said was, obviously this was when OU, I think, was one of the away teams. So they were waiting out in the parking lot in the 80s about waiting for their time to go in and stuff. And they said they were around where the Bevo trailer was at. And they said the basically their equivalent of the Roughnecks for Texas was having a lot of difficulty getting him out of the excuse me, out of the trailer and everything for it. And they said, we decided we're 18, 19-year-olds. They said they went over there like right as they got Bevo out, took like the Roughneck shotgun, like shot it right next to the trailer and caused it to echo. And they said, we've never seen a bull like go scamper like back quickly. And they said the Texas people were just very, very upset that occurred. The other one, they said it was like a year afterward and they got a massive talking to, but it's one of their best memories was they said they were the away team. And they said this was the year that Texas would have the giant flag and everything. They would unroll it just like we would do at the home stadiums, right? And one of them told me, well, I got the brilliant idea of when they were going to unroll it, when they started waving about. He's like, I fired the shotgun like right through the flag and caused a hole in it. So there's some funny stories, not just from like the fans and stuff, but the Roughnecks and everything as well from it as anything. There's some good stories from it if you really go back. Like I always enjoy hearing like Swiggy, Dad, Gavin, y'all can all attest to it. We have different perspectives as fans. There's definitely different perspectives from the Roughnecks and the Pride of Oklahoma, and then there's different perspectives from like the players and everything as well. Hearing their stories of like going through the tunnel, like this is completely different than anything you've ever seen before from it. Excuse me, I have a bit of a respiratory thing myself. Swiggy, Gavin, do you have any stories as well?
I don't think I really have like any stories I would probably say would top what you guys actually have. So, but it's a lot of good memories to make for sure.
Well, what's been your favorite game and stuff to watch and why?
Man, it's interesting because I was watching this a little bit. I was watching that 2003 OU Texas game. That's when Vince Young actually came out of the third series and everything. Had a sprained ankle and everything. But that was like one of the most I would say complete performances with Jason White, Mark Clayton. Teddy Lehman, was an absolute stud along with Tommy Harris. It was just like it was probably, I would say, the most complete team for the most part that I would see in a long time before we got Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. What at the OU Texas games, Dad, who's been your favorite player to watch? Too many to count.
I liked all of them. I like the Selman brothers. Loved watching Jack Mildren, Joe Washington, Greg Pruitt, and all them. It was just different type of playing back in the wishbone back in those days. It was awesome. It was awesome. And into the third quarter, Oklahoma State's winning 26-15.
They'll find a way to mess up. Now, it's funny. We talked about the prices of the tickets before. We talked some of the stories and stuff, but I bet you money, the more things that change, the more things that stay the same. Let me guess, the construction from Oklahoma to Texas have not changed at all in the Denton area, has it?
They always start construction a month before the game, it seems like. And I think Oklahoma and Texas's state symbol are the red cone, because it's just, I heard there was a backup today between Norman and Purcell. Now, I don't know if there was a wreck or whatever, but they said traffic was backed up for miles.
That'd be one of the worst experience ever. You know what is a good story, Dad? Do you remember when we all went down to Wichita Falls for Jeff Dunham, and I got the Boomer Sooner down there when we were stopping at the Whataburger.
Yes. Yes. Even Mom said yes. Yep. Yep.
That was a good one. That's just a random story as family stuff. We went and saw Jeff Dunham years ago for it, and we were coming back because it was like an 8 or 9 o'clock show, and we were all driving back at the time. And on our way, we all had to use the restroom, so we stopped at Whataburger. And it was funny because as we're just waiting in the parking lot for my friend, there's people who went through the drive-through, and all of a sudden we hear the biggest boomer, and I responded, "Sooner!" I see Dad and Mom look like just both look at me. I'm just going, it's reflexive. I'm sorry. It's a cult thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do what now?
We got
Josh. We got Boomer Sooner in Hawaii.
Really? You didn't tell me that.
Yep. Mom just reminded me of it. Yep. Boomer Sooner in Hawaii.
See, there's Boomer Sooners everywhere from it. See, you talk about seeing all the players and stuff. I have to say, and we talked about it a little bit as well. And I'm glad he's a guest picker tomorrow. Baker was always fun to watch and absolutely was a hoot for OU Texas games as well.
Oh yeah, I liked watching Baker. Either you liked him or you didn't. And I liked Baker. You know, didn't agree with everything he did or whatever, but I like Baker.
I liked him because he had the attitude and like the skill to back it up, like the old 80s players where they brought a lot of the emotion to the game versus where you see it more very like subdued and everything as well.
Right. And he brought a lot of emotion to the game, and he played with emotion, and I enjoyed watching him, you know, but as I said, either you liked him or you don't. And I know one person that hates him, so.
Yeah, and so does it was a rough time for those Ohio State people trying to hate him when he was leading their Cleveland Browns for a little bit, right, Swiggy?
I mean, most people except the insane Ohio State fans got over it. But Ohio State is like Columbus is right in the middle of the state, so it's 50-50 between Bengals fans and Browns fans. So Bengals fans definitely hated Baker. I mean, Browns fans eventually hated Baker, but you know, 3 interceptions against the Ravens on Sunday night and 4 interceptions against the Packers on Christmas. Yeah, you're gonna get hate. Yeah, you're gonna get hated for that. Now that said, I'm happy Baker's doing well in Tampa. But I mean, because he was never gonna do that with the Browns. He just wasn't. Tampa's a better place for him. Hope it works out. Hope it keeps working out for him. But I mean, it's the NFL. No, but what game 4 of the NFL versus game 6 versus game 17. We got a long season to go.
Yeah, we do. Here's a question for you, Gavin Swiggy kind of reminded me of it as I'm thinking of it. Dad, the biggest controversy usually is everybody wants a 2:30 kick, but we usually get an 11. What kickoff time do you like the most at OU Texas?
Who are you talking to?
You.
Oh, I don't care. I've been to a 2:30 kickoff game for OU Texas, and the reason that was years ago, but the reason it was a 2:30 kickoff because there was a baseball playoff game, and they wouldn't preempt it in order to watch the OU Texas game, so they had to move it till 2:30.
Really? You never told that story.
And then it was over. Almost at 6 or 6:30, and it's getting dark in Dallas, and you don't want to lose your way.
And that was before the trams and everything too that took you to and from.
Right. And you got to remember where you park. And then see, I'm a landmark person. I look for landmarks, know where to turn and everything. It was dark. I just had to wing it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I don't really care about the kickoff time. I'm so used to 11. I don't mind it just because I like waking up. I like watching football. I'd rather see OU Texas at like 11 than be stuck watching Ohio State and Maryland at 11.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm fine with it, but if they move it to 2:30, I wouldn't exactly be like, oh no, this is a great. You've disgraced OU Texas. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of like 11. I wouldn't mind if they still kept it. I think it's a big problem is we've had so many 11 kickoffs. It just it and it just feels like we're stuck with it. Whereas if we had like a normal amount of 11 a.m. kickoffs, no one would care that OU Texas starts at 11. It's just okay, we have another 11. We have another early kickoff after we had an early kickoff against Cincinnati. After we had an early kickoff, early kickoff against West Virginia. I forget if West Virginia's early this year or not, but you know what I mean. We
Right.
just had so many of them.
Right. At least it's not a Friday night game.
Oh god. Oh yeah.
Like right now.
Yes, exactly.
What's your thoughts right now about how we mentioned a little bit about college football and how it's changing already? What's your thoughts of like us moving to the SEC? Are you looking forward to it? Are you like disappointed we're leaving the Big 12? Are you upset that your season tickets went up money?
I'm upset about my season tickets going up, but I was prepared for it. I knew it was going to happen. The thing that really irks me, and I know I'm going to get a lot of feedback off of it, I still want to see Bedlam. I think it's good for the state. I think it's good for the players. And I really, really hate to lose Bedlam. I enjoyed going to that game, and I just think it's wrong now. I don't know whose fault it is, or if Gundy or whoever the powers to be. I'd like to see Bedlam still there.
I see Gavin. What were you gonna say, Gavin?
I mean, I'm kind of with your Ed on this one, because honestly, it is such a big part of the state. But the problem is like these non-conference games now, they are planned like about 6, 7, 8 years in advance now these days. If anything else, though, too, because it's like you have to like plan them so far out now these days. Like I'm like at the point to where like where are you going to be able to basically try and schedule them for the most part? And like within the next 2-3 years or so from now, you won't be able to do that or anything else though too. Now, if it's like stuff that's already further down where they're just not going to do it, then yeah, that's going to basically be on the schools. But
Sure.
from the short term of it, there's just no way they could be able to do it over a short term period.
No, that's true. That's true, and it is what it is. I just hate to see it go by the wayside. That's just me, though. That's just me. But I'm anxious to see SEC come in. I like Georgia, Alabama, and all these teams coming in and us playing them and everything. It's going to be a whole different set of circumstances. I told Josh whenever Georgia and SEC and Alabama come in, I was going to sell my tickets to make up for what it's costing me to buy them this year, and he just about went nuts.
As every fan should. What we talked about the SEC. What's your thoughts in general of like how college football is almost consolidating at this point? That you're probably going to have like 2 massive conferences and maybe 2 little small conferences at this point. Are you in favor of it? Are you not in favor of it?
Honestly, hadn't kept up with it. Doesn't matter to me. Just as long as we can play the games and go with it, I don't care.
Has what's it called? Is it just different to you though, based on like the 70s and the 80s versus now though?
What do you mean?
Well, how you see all the consolidation of everything happening, teams are being left out. Obviously you've seen some different stuff versus us from it, because we grew up at like almost in the 2000 OU, not the 70s, 80s, where there was a lot of conferences and everything, and there was the infamous Southwest Conference.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. I don't know.
Here's another question for.
It's just where we've gone right now. It's just I don't know what they're going to do with the conferences. There may be 2 super conferences. I don't know. But it really, it's just something I hadn't kept up with.
Makes sense. Here's another one for you, if you know off the top of your head, Dad. Who's the Texas player you hate the most?
Oh, geez.
I know it's a long list.
I really no name has come to the top. The one the one person I really liked watching back in the 70s was Earl Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bruiser. I watched him at the OU Texas game carry 4 Sooners with him across the goal line from about the 10-yard line. They just could not get that guy down. And I liked Earl Campbell. Tyler Rose, and he was tough. He was tough. As if for having any player I don't like, any of them that play Oklahoma and we lose, I don't.
I mean, that's fair.
I don't know. One player just doesn't come to mind onto it. It really doesn't.
What about coach?
I respected all the coaches. I liked Darrell Royal. I liked, of course, he played for OU, and he's from Oklahoma. Fred Akers, okay. I just respected Akers when he went for the 15-15 tie in that rainstorm, and really, I don't know much about this coach now. I think he's going to do well. He may lead them to the national championship. I don't know, but Akers probably comes to mind for the coach.
Gotcha. I mean, infamously, we all talk about like the McCoys and the Shipleys and everything as the legacy players and everything. In all honesty, I don't even think Texas is like the team you hate the most. I think there's more teams that you just dislike.
Yeah, Alabama.
That's okay. Everybody dislikes Alabama.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Legally, I tolerate Alabama.
Yeah.
But that's because my friend writes about Alabama football, so I'm just always following him and reading his stuff. So like legally I tolerate Alabama.
Right.
Dad, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did you have any questions for us or anything before Swiggy, Gavin? Do you have questions for Dad?
Ask away. I'll tell you what I know, which isn't very much anymore.
I guess I had the one question though. You were mentioning about the president and everything, too. With you said it was with Royal and Switzer, I believe.
No, it was with Switzer, and I think Ford was the president, and I think it was Darrell Royal. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I was just double checking on which president it was because I didn't catch that earlier though too, because that's what I was concerned about with which president it was.
I think if my memory serves me, which at my age I'm like, no, I think it was Ford. Someone from the stands, I cannot remember. They said something and it cracked everybody up. Like, oh, I can't remember what they said. It was something like, "Who's that asshole walking with you?" or something. It was just, it was something like that. But yeah.
I mean, there's infamous OU Texas stories from it. I was trying to think any other ones or anything from it. Oh yeah, of course. You've mentioned it, and everybody knows. But obviously, and I don't know how strict it is now, but I remember you told me before too, like you're not allowed to obviously scalp the tickets or anything, or you get into trouble, and you've seen people get into trouble.
What do you mean? I've seen people. You can scalp outside the Cotton Bowl. You just can't do it on the grounds.
Right. I remember you telling me that you've seen people get in trouble doing it in the grounds.
I never saw them in the grounds. I saw them outside the stadium, and that was legal.
You never needed them.
Do what?
You never needed them.
Nope. Come on, Munchie. I gotta take the dog out the potty.
Okay.
Sorry, gang.
That's okay.
It was fun. I look forward to every year. About 10:59 tomorrow morning, my blood pressure will go up.
As usual.
And about 11:02, I'll probably I'll probably start dropping the F-bombs.
No, because kickoff's not till 11:10.
Right. Okay. And it scares the dog. She goes in the other room or stays with mom.
Close enough. I didn't see any questions or anything in the chat. Swiggy, Gavin, do y'all have any final questions for Dad or anything? Any stories you think he might have?
No, I think I'm good.
It's It has changed since the 70s. I'll put it that way. I'll put it this way. The first OU game I went to was with my sister and brother-in-law, and that was in the 60s. And it was in the student section, and that's when the students got in free. I had a student. I used a fake student ID card, and the guy said, just go on in. You know, I didn't look like a college kid for nothing, but hey, go on in. I sat there and everything, and that was my first OU game. Now, I tell you one thing that I do miss. I'm going to leave it with this after that. When I got to go to those games, and Josh has heard this, and I know it was Little Red, who was our mascot at that time. We didn't have the Sooner Scooter. It was so neat being able to see Little Red do what he did.
Yeah, because that was a completely different
the
experience and everything for it. The times were different for sure.
Right. And, you know, Florida State still has theirs. Why can't we do ours? You know, that's been my contention. But, yeah, I get to see Little Red go out in the middle of the field and do his thing. That was neat. That was cool.
Yeah.
But
Dad, I want go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay. I was going to say thank you for joining. We're going to hop a little bit into previewing the game and everything. You're more than welcome to stick around and everything, but we're going to be talking about the previewing the game tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to bed. It's way past my bedtime.
That it is. It's about an hour past your bedtime. So
I start getting the bobblehead and everything.
I can tell that.
When y'all get to be my age, you'll appreciate it. Let me tell you.
We've all hit the ripe old age of 30. We're already decomposing.
Oh, please. You know what? That's
I feel amazing.
That's because you have that awesome eyesight.
Who said that? Swiggy or Gavin?
I said that. Swiggy did.
It was Swiggy.
Oh, what are you, Swiggy? About 30?
I'm like 34.
Oh, geez. You know what? I'm 70. So, yeah.
But you've been
enjoying my 30s.
Do what now? What, Gavin?
I said I'm just now enjoying my 30s right now is all I'm doing.
Well, I'll put it this way. Enjoy it. Because it goes way, way, way too fast. And, you know, enjoy every moment that you possibly can, especially with the OU games and everything. And you just got to remember, it's just a game. 1,000 years from now, no one will care.
We'll care. You can't say that because you care about us not getting that clipping call in 1971 against Nebraska. We don't forget.
I still say that was a clipping call.
We also haven't forgot the OU 2006 Oregon game either, so we don't forget this.
Or
the 2008 Texas game.
Yeah, we don't forget this.
No, I didn't say that's 30 years. I'm saying 1,000 years.
Well, I'll be dead in 1,000 years. So, Dad, I want to thank you for joining. We're going to go straight into the preview in the game. Boomer Sooner, throwing the horns down for you. And I'll give you a call tomorrow as the game happens.
You'll call me 20 times during the game.
As you will call me back.
I probably will. I have to put my phone on charge because you talk so long and you start griping so long.
That's okay. Everybody has to have an outlet at some point. So
I know. Okay. Well, y'all have a good night. The kickoff, the pregame is 58 degrees there tomorrow.
That is amazing.
And it's going to be 80. As I said, Josh, I never got 80 degrees at that thing.
I haven't got 80 degrees either. I've got about 90 degrees.
Yeah. So y'all have a good evening. I'm out of here.
All right, Boomer.
Boomer. Sooner. Bye.
Sooner. Bye. That was fun. I'm glad Dad was able to join us to swap stories and everything. I know we've heard a couple of them, but everyone enjoyed hearing it in the chat and everything. You don't be able to hear like so much of those stories every so often. But guys, we got about 20 minutes left. Let's preview this game. So we made it to
my prediction.
Your prediction is. Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
What? There's going to be pain. Someone is going to be in pain, whether it's us or Texas. Now, my prediction is Texas pain, but I play both sides, so I always win. And
you're an opportunist.
I am an opportunist, and I don't know. If Kansas State's defense can make a stop, they might have a chance to tie this game.
If Oklahoma State loses, I'm going to laugh my ass off because I think it's funny as heck. Keep in mind too, as well, we want Oklahoma State to win though. So if we do lose to Texas tomorrow, we have a little more wiggle room because we don't play Kansas State this year. So it would be very difficult for us to potentially get into the Big 12 championship. It would be a little bit tighter stuff from it. So
I don't think Kansas State's that good. I think if we win out in the Big 12, we'll be fine. That's my bold. That's a bold
prediction.
That is my bold take.
Ooh.
That's a very bold take.
Well, I believe the same for Texas too. I guess that's my big prediction tomorrow. I don't think tomorrow is really going to matter because I think both OU and Texas are going to meet again in the Big 12 title game.
The rematch of the century. Gavin, what is your initial surface thoughts?
Sorry, Oklahoma State dropped a 2-point conversion. He had it in his hands. Kansas State. Kansas State wants to lose this game. This is sad. This is pathetic. Kansas State fans feel bad for yourselves, but go on, Gavin.
Okay, I gotta regroup. What was the question again?
What's your surface level thoughts going into this game? Again, nothing matters going into this game. The first drives are going to be all based on emotion, and then it's all business at this point. We've taken care of the season so far. Both teams are entering undefeated. OU did its best to get to number 10. There's just a couple teams in front of us, but it's still a top 10 matchup. What's your initial thoughts going right into this game?
I think this is going to be the biggest, and this is going to how I put it, where we are at progressing wise with Brent Venables. This is, I think, the biggest test that I think we have for Brent in quite some time. The first year's been kind of an issue, but I think to have this turnaround, it's like, where are we going to be at for the most part, going forward? It's like, okay, if we win this game, it's like, okay, we have so much, going forward and everything. Now, if we lose this game, it's like, okay, where do we see ourselves going forward? It's not, going to be the point to where, we're going for after Brent, but I feel like, there's some progress to where we still need to improve. So I'm looking at it, it's either way, it's like, the way how things have kind of turned around, even though we've not really played anybody, this is going to be a good of where we are in that hierarchy within the top 10 or top 15 in the top 25.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, if you look down, in my opinion, if you look on paper right now, Texas does have an edge. I absolutely think they do just because of the circumstances, but what talent they have at the moment. But when you start to really break down individual units, OU has a shot. I'm going to say it's 65-35, percentage-wise, but they have a shot. And the reason is it's so low, in my opinion, it's what Dad said. It's the running game. The running game has to be there tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to have problems for it. And the team that runs the best always usually seems to win the game. We have to figure out that run game. I think Levy's going to open up the playbook tomorrow. I think that's absolutely going to happen.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, another thing too, and I know this might not be count much for the running game and stuff like that, but there are a lot of times to where, and Josh Swiggy, you know this as well as I do, they'll sometimes try to use those those RPO swing routes as well, because even though it's going to be counted towards more of a pass play, it's basically more of a way of using the run. So it's like the way I kind of look at it. It's not going to count towards much on the run stats or anything, but you might as well count it as the run game at this point, because that's basically the only other way you can really do it. I know I don't agree with it stat wise, but just from a play calling perspective, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you with it. The flip side of it, I do think, in addition to the run game, it's going to come down, can our defense put pressure on Ewers, which I think they can. But then how can will our O-line be able to stand up to Texas? I think our ends against their defensive end, or our tackles against, but man, the middle of their line is very, very, very good. Anybody saying otherwise are fools. I don't think they're as good as Cincinnati's.
No,
but
I mean, good, though.
number 1 to number 2 is not that much of a drop at that point for it. They're good. They're good. Just like I believe, too, that our wide receiver room is better than their wide receiver room. I think that they have the more elite talent for 2 guys, but they don't have the full deep room where you have to guard everybody.
Plus they drop the ball a lot. Go back to that Alabama game, and if Alabama had won that game, which but in the fourth quarter, that was still early fourth quarter. That was still a game. That had not been decided yet. Alabama was within a touchdown. Alabama could have won that game. And you look back at it, how many touchdowns or first downs did the Texas wide receivers just drop? That would have been. They lost at least 8 points, maybe even more if I remember correctly. But their wide receivers even left me unimpressed with the Bama game, and now I just jinxed it because I think tomorrow we'll watch Texas's wide receivers just kill us, which is
it's a possibility.
Anything
it's OU Texas.
Yeah, anything can happen in a game like this. It's a rivalry game. You just throw I know we like to say, oh, throw everything out for Bedlam, but the fact is Bedlam is chalk most of the time. The only real bad Bedlam game was when we re-kicked it to Tyreek Hill, and we all know how that went. But that
don't give me PTSD.
I'm trying not to. I remember that. I have PTSD too from that. But
did you go to that game?
No, I was watching at home at the time.
Well, how do you have PTSD? I have PTSD from that game.
Okay, fine. Yours is greater than mine. Josh wins the contest, everyone. Josh wins the contest. That was the only time that Bedlam has ever not really been chalk. 2021. They were good. It was in Stillwater. It wasn't like that was a game that was 100%. I still think we should have won it, but Oklahoma State winning with some help from the refs wasn't exactly a major upset.
Well, I will tell you, Swiggy, and this was my biggest issue too. It would also help if we was our own punts inside the 5.
I know.
Because OU muffed the punt right there, and it basically gave them a good field to score a touchdown in there.
I know. Did Lincoln Riley use his psychic powers to make that happen? I haven't heard him say no. Think about it. But anyway.
Yeah, but did Lincoln Riley actually do anything? No. Anyway, this is a celebration weekend. We don't talk about Tebow on the celebration weekends.
But looking at it, there's not a whole lot. I know it's a canned expression where anything can happen, but the only person I really disagreed with was Klatt, who said he thinks that you should be nervous coming into this game, and I'm just nervous. I'm nervous about what? Because as far as I'm concerned, all the pressure's on Texas. They're number 3. This is their best chance for national championship year. We're still rebuilding under Brent, and like I was saying last week, like I said earlier this week, you can lose this game. We can win this. We can lose this game, win out, and let me tell you, unless a perfect situation occurs, a one-loss Oklahoma is not missing the playoff. No, I don't think we're a playoff team. I want to be clear on that. I don't think get your hopes up for national championship even if we beat Texas. But my point is that's something that can 100% happen. This is the one game on our schedule I think we can lose, but I still think we win out the Big 12. I think our schedule's not that bad, and we can 100% beat Texas a second time in the Big 12 champ game. So to me, everything's on Texas. That's just how I feel about it. You're number 3. You beat Bama. This is a game that you have to win if you want to be taken.
Validation.
If you want for validation. Because here's the thing: if Texas, here's the thing: if Texas beats Oklahoma, and things happen how I think they happen, I mean I mean they'll know the chance in the Big 12 title game. Or maybe OU drops a random one and they get Kansas State or something, which could happen.
Yeah.
That could easily happen, or who knows? But the thing is, look, this is Texas's moment to shine. Ewers, I said before the Alabama game, I'm going to say it now. Ewers has a lot to gain from balling out in this game.
Mm-hmm.
OU has had great defense all year. I think we'll continue to have a great defense, but he can make himself a lot of money if he balls out and makes people think, maybe he is better than Drake May. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't think he is, but I'm just saying, look, we all know how NFL draft brain goes.
Yeah.
The longer when we hit January until the draft, you just post Super Bowl until the draft, you just get universe brain takes. So it's so Ewers has a lot. Ewers has a lot to prove in this game. He's had his Kansas game was good, but it was what you expected. His Wyoming game was bad. This is another chance for him to really show off and show that he can, and show that he can read defenses and he can do it. So there's a lot to this game, but on the OU side, Dylan's going to be Dylan. We're going to come in. We're going to try our hardest, but once again, I know I keep saying it all year, but this is probably not a national championship level team. We're still too early in Brent's rebuild, so I think we can go in. We can play loose, and we can play our kind of ball, and just whatever happens, happens. If we're better than Texas, let's show it. Let's do it. If we're not, okay, there's still work to do, but this isn't going to be a game that's going to crush me. Because just because I know what the stakes are, and I still think, just from everything I've seen in the Big 12, we're good enough to win out in the Big 12. So,
yeah,
I know that kind of is anticlimactic, saying this game doesn't really matter, which is not really true. You still want to win the game. You always want to win your rivalry games. And after Brent had such a bad start last year, you don't want to go 0-2 against Texas, because then you really have to make it up. Although even though I'm more understanding about it than I am again with Day and Ohio State against Michigan, because Brent's just had a totally different situation than that. So So we'll see. We're about 13 hours away from seeing what will happen.
Yeah. Then let's wrap this one up, guys. Gavin, what's your prediction for tomorrow?
You know what? I'm going to go faith on this, and I'm just going to say 45-38 OU with the win.
Really? 45-38 with bringing home the W. Okay. Swiggy, what's your prediction?
My prediction, I think it's going to be, I'm going to go 35-28. No, 35-31. Don't kill me on this. I do think because of our running game issues, Texas will pull it out. I'm just worried putting that much pressure on Dylan isn't going to get us where we want to be. So I am going Texas tomorrow, but like I've said, I think we get revenge in the Big 12 title game later on. So
I think
we'll get a shot.
I agree with you. My biggest concern is the same thing. Is I think we're almost there, and that's going to be next year. My prediction for this game is going to be probably, I'm thinking 34-28 Texas. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm pleasantly wrong, so I can go, look, Texas, what the hell, guys? I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. Like OU winning would not surprise. Yeah, like OU winning would not surprise me in any way because I do think there's a high chance Ewers does not have the game he needs to have. We've seen it before. We've seen it before where he shrinks, where he can shrink. I don't know. He's played well against Alabama, but like everyone else, he's kind of so up and down. I don't know. I don't know. And the fact that Kansas did play them close for so long in Texas, we'll see. OU winning would not surprise me, but I still think Texas has just enough of an advantage, and I think things will work out because we're a year away. Because we are a year away. But
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Hey, if we do win, great on Brent. But like I said, I think we end up playing the Big 12 title game and get revenge on them, and everyone kind of forgets a close loss to Texas after that.
Yeah, I agree. That's all we got, guys, tonight. OU Texas tomorrow. Horns down, obviously. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, hit the bell. You know when. What?
One last thing. Hey, it's not just OU Texas. It's a huge day for Texas tomorrow. The Rangers play the Orioles at the same time. Come on, Josh. You know you're gonna be flipping back and forth between the two.
Woo! I'm
Oh,
so
man.
thrilled. So yeah.
Go on, Josh. Go on.
You can let us know how that goes while I will be watching the game and probably stressing my mind out. Either way, comment, rate, subscribe, like, hit the bell so you know when we upload a video. Watch the old stuff, guys. It's good background noise as well as gets the numbers up on the channel for us to make more content. Has everybody interact with us. I want to thank everybody again for joining us tonight, interacting with Dad, having questions and everything. He had a fun time. Boomer Sooner, guys. Only one. The Horns will stay down, regardless if we win or lose tomorrow. And we'll be back here Sunday, guys. I don't know if Sean's going to join us because he is at the game. He is at the game right now, so I hope he has a fun time. I hope he gets his Belgian waffle, which he hasn't had, I think, in over 10 years. So I hope you have fun with it, Sean. Boomer Sooner, guys. Only one. I'll probably see y'all Sunday. Later.
Peace.